Excuse me?
Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Welcome back to another episode of In Horror We Trust.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Hello, friends.
Hello. The time is nigh.
It is. It's been too long. We've had a little bit of a yet again hiatus. We're the worst.
Getting in the way. Depression. Work.
Are you okay?
It's okay.
We're back. We're good. And
We're
back.
okay.
Yes. We're thriving. Kind of. Maybe.
Yeah,
Sort
you know what? We are.
Yeah.
As much as we can, we are thriving.
Absolutely. And we are very excited to announce what our latest episode is going to be.
This episode is our Halloween Spooktober challenge.
Yes.
Essentially, we've made a list, like a watch challenge, to watch a certain horror movie for each day of the month of October.
Yes, so 31 movies in 31 days. And we have challenged ourselves to watch one per day.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this goes.
Or more.
I have
if you so dare.
I have confidence in us. I think we can get through this.
Get us in the Halloween spirit.
Yes. And we absolutely 100% encourage you guys to either A, follow along, or come up with your own list to do.
Yeah. Just fill it with loads of horror.
Yes.
Ya horror. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. We'll cut that out.
All right.
So we are going to go through our list. We're going to share the pics, obviously. Share a little summary what the movie is about. Who picked it and why we chose to include it in this very special list.
Yes. And we are including all 31 days, and then we may have some honorable mentions that didn't quite make the cut.
We always got to have the honorable mentions. There's just so much good shit out there.
All right, let's get started. So, number one
to kick it off
on our list to start spooky season
is The House on Haunted Hill, 1959. The OG, directed by William Castle, starring the Vincent Price. Basically, it's about a rich guy invites some strangers to this house on a hill, a very interesting house, and offers to pay them a reward for staying in the house overnight, but it's a haunted house.
Sounds sketch.
Yeah, it kind of gives some Clue vibes, you know. Just a very, very classic. Sorry, this was my pick, I guess. And I watched this for the first time last October, and I absolutely loved it. I think it's the perfect way to kick off Spooktober. It has very classic spooky vibes.
It's been so long since I've seen this movie, so I am very excited to have a reason to see this again.
Yeah. It's just a lovely, cozy film.
Yes. Very perfect way to start the season. Just flow right in.
Yeah. And then the next pick for day 2 is Child's Play 2, which is Christine's pick.
Of course. Gotta relive that trauma.
Yeah. Bringing back the childhood trauma each October.
So Child's Play 2 is, you know, Chucky is refound, rebuilt, remastered, let's say.
Oh.
And he is set loose to find Andy again and just wreak havoc. And Andy is now in a foster home. And yeah, not doing so well. Still trying to run away from the Chuck. And
from the Chuck.
And this movie is just no holds bar. Just Chucky on a rampage.
Just next level.
Yeah.
Next level shit.
I figure we eased our way in and then bam, right in your face.
Yeah. Yeah, you got some good classic doll horror.
Yes, and it has a lot of good moments, and I feel like we needed a doll horror movie on this list, so why not the OG?
Yeah. It's also fun. It's very
Oh,
well, maybe not for Christine.
No, it is fun. I've grown old enough to where it's enjoyable now. Just at night, maybe still do the little run jump because he still freaks me out just a little bit.
Yeah.
But.
Well, yeah, you have your own Chucky doll.
Yeah,
too.
he's in my closet. So,
closet. Or is he? You think he is?
Shut up! Okay. Don't even start. No, he's doing well. The fear is a linger, but it's gone. Nice. I'm excited to see this.
Hell yeah!
So we have Salem's Lot, 1979, which is Carissa's pick.
Yeah,
a Stephen King adaptation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this was my pick, Salem's Lot, 1979. Basically, this writer, Stephen King, a writer goes back to his hometown in Maine, and
it is
there, yeah. So this writer revisits his hometown in Maine, and there is a notorious haunted house in that town that all the kids used to dare each other to go up to. And this house has some new occupants, very strange occupants. And let's just say it's a vampire flick. Spoiler, no spoiler. You should know that by now. But it's a great 70s horror film. It's got some classic spooky, creepy vibes, and very classic vampire type of movie. But I think it's just another warm up for the season.
Gotta have some sort of Stephen King iteration in our list. And again, this is one of the movies that I haven't seen in a very long time. Yeah. So I'm quite excited to revisit Salem's Lot.
It's another one of those, besides being a vampire movie, just haunted house on a hill again.
Yeah.
But I love those stories. It's kind of relatable because I feel like everyone kind of has a story like that in their hometown or adjacent area.
What kids during Halloween weren't afraid to go up to that one house in their neighborhood. Exactly. I think it should be very fun. So exactly. I'm excited.
And the next, so day 4 is Ghost Watch. It's another one of my picks, and I watched this for the first time last year as well. It's a lesser known found footage horror, British, from 1992, and essentially this aired on Halloween on the BBC.
Oh.
And basically they aired this movie as if it were a real BBC broadcast, and they had actual BBC reporters star in it, and they basically investigate a supposed paranormal activity at this home. So it's kind of like Paranormal Activity before the Paranormal Activity, but it's really well done, and it really was scary, and they really get you. And I know people, when this came out and it aired on Halloween night on the BBC, people were freaked out. And they really mess with you in the movie. And I think it's just such a delight, such a delightful found footage that not a lot of people have seen, that I think a lot of people should see.
I have not seen this at all. Carissa has been raving about this movie since she watched it, and she's been trying to get me to see it. This is the perfect excuse to see it, and I'm very excited because she's said nothing but great things about this movie. It sounds absolutely up my alley, so I'm very excited.
And it is now on physical media, physical release. I got the steel case.
Oh, the steel book?
Yeah, the steel book.
Hell yeah.
Collector's edition.
You're gonna have to show me a photo of it.
Yeah.
All right, our number 5 pick, the OG Exorcist. I genuinely don't even think this needs a synopsis.
Yeah.
Everyone knows The Exorcist, and if you don't, you need to do your own research and watch this, because this movie is great. I don't think it would be a Halloween without The Exorcist. Yeah, it's just the quintessential possession movie. I feel like I feel a little bit more attached to it, even though it's kind of twisted, but I'm Middle Eastern. He finds Pazuzu in Iraq, so I gotta love it.
And each time I watch it, it's just still so scary.
It is.
And it's just unbelievable, just the makeup and the effects still to this day. I mean, I don't know. Some people might say like, "Oh, no, no, I'm gonna shut that down." I maintain that shit looks so great and realistic and terrifying. Like,
Oh
it
my
just,
God,
I'm just
yeah.
engrossed each time I watch it.
I think it's fantastic. I think everything about this movie kind of screams perfection, and that might be the idealist in me, but it really does. The practical effects is on point. The storyline and plot on point. The score, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
The acting superb. Like it's The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Like I can't say more than that.
Exorcist, guys.
Yeah. With that being said, having that at number 5, we thought, how can we do The Exorcist at a perfect timing? Well, we'll do The Exorcist Believer, which comes out on the 6th.
666, sign of the devil.
And I feel like we gotta watch the OG before we see this new movie.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I know it's not a remake, it's more of a reimagining part 2 kind of situation. And I'm down. The trailer looked really, really fun. It had kind of a mix of new school and old school and really creepy imagery.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of going into it without expectations, but, with some hope. So we'll see where it goes.
I gotta say, I was honestly impressed when I saw the trailer. It brought more hope to me than I had initially thought going into it. And I know we aren't big fans of David Gordon Green's other work per se, but no, this looks like it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
And there was some really, like, the makeup I was really impressed with. I was like, oh, okay, they're going for it. And we have two little fucked up girls.
I was not expecting that, but I kind of like that they chose to go down that route, so it doesn't feel as much of a remake as it could have.
Yeah.
And
then
I'm just
bringing back Ellen Burstyn.
Yeah.
Going along with the legacy type of
it's David Gordon Green archetype kind of stuff with what he did with Halloween.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm gonna save any sort of comments on it until we finally get to see the film. I know that he's taking on big shoes. Everyone loves The Exorcist. Everyone has something to say about The Exorcist, and to go in and make a reimagining sequel or anything like that revolving this movie is kind of a climbing the mountain sort of task. So,
and even bigger shoes because of the recently late William Friedkin. Bless him.
Yeah. You know what? Along the same lines of this movie, with how much we know about what happened behind the scenes of like the cursed set of the original, I'm kind of curious to see if any of that happened while filming this one. But besides the point,
that is so good.
I'm really excited to have these two on the list, and it'll be a fun watch.
Definitely. Next, still running with our satanic possession theme, you gotta have Rosemary's Baby on there.
You have to. You can't have a Halloween list without it.
And this one is it's just quite the film. And I gotta say, I still haven't seen it.
Wait, what?
I
she
know,
did not
I'm
tell
ashamed.
me this while we created the
I'm
list.
Ashamed.
I'm even more excited for you to watch it now.
I've always had it on my list, and I've always meant to watch it, and I don't know why I just haven't. But I am really excited to challenge myself to do it this year. And I've seen a lot of like some scenes from it, but not as a whole. And I know it's a very like just wonderfully artistically made film. It can be pretty like heavy subject matter per se, but also just dreadful.
I think you're going to thoroughly enjoy this movie, and if you don't, I'm going to be surprised. It's a slow burn, but once it descends into madness, it really punches it home. But this is a great film. I think it's very deserved to be on a Halloween list, and I can't say enough good things. I feel like we're really hitting it hard with the 70s movies right now, but Rosemary's Baby is one of those films that deserves to be watched again on or around Halloween.
Yeah. I mean, you have these certain decades with really powerful punches of horror.
Absolutely.
And they deserve to be.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Which, another one, 1975, Deep Red.
Yes. We
Giallo.
had to throw in a Giallo in here.
And
Like,
we were really torn between Suspiria and
Deep Red. Yeah.
But we have watched Suspiria quite a few times, so I think we want to
change it up a bit.
Change it up. And if you haven't seen Deep Red, which I know a lot of people have, but it's like another very popular Giallo, but it is a great movie.
I feel like out of the two Argento films, most people have seen Suspiria, but Deep Red is kind of like the younger or like the middle child of Argento films. Mm-hmm. I highly suggest it. It's a great film.
And I feel like it's like quintessential Giallo.
It is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that rounds out number 8. For number 9, this is one of my most beloved, just funny horror films, and it is Hatchet. I absolutely adore Adam Green. He is a director that's done a lot of just really fun horror. He very much loves the genre, and you can see that in his films. And Hatchet is kind of an ode to 80s slashers. It's a bunch of college-age people go out to do a swamp tour in Louisiana, and they come across Victor Crowley. And it's a really fun movie. There's a lot of cameos, practical effects. This is just, when you think of like Halloween horror fun, I feel like this is one of those movies that kind of nails that right in the head. Absolutely. It's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, you were the one who showed me this movie, and it was just such a fun time.
So fun. It's just over the top, lots of gore. I mean, the acting is silly. It feels very B-rated, but at the same time, like, you can tell that there's a love for these movies, that there's a lot of attention to detail in it, and yeah, you can't not have fun with a movie like Hatchet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and then our number 10 pick, which kind of takes a hard left on funny and goes into serious, and that is 28 Days Later. This list would not have felt complete if we did not have a zombie movie in it. And I know a lot of people argue that 28 Days Later is not a zombie movie, but honestly, I think it can be considered an infection type of zombie, and who cares about the rules? It's just a really fun movie.
But not even by bite, blood and bites.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah. So fuck it.
It's fun.
It's a great movie.
This movie, I think, has changed the zombie game in my eyes, because I've always thought, oh, zombies isn't a big deal. Like, you could outrun them, get away. You're fine. This movie, absolutely not. Like, they run, they're terrifyingly fast, they are absolutely feral.
Yeah. Like
so
barbaric rage.
This movie, man wakes up after being in a coma for 28 days and notices that his city is completely empty and totally filled with these rage zombies. We later come to find out how the rage zombies came to be, and it's just, who doesn't love Cillian Murphy?
Exactly.
Who doesn't love zombie movies? You can't go wrong.
It's a hell of a concept too. Like, to wake up and the world around you that you knew
has completely changed. One of the cool little factoids about this movie that I absolutely adore, and I think that's why I keep coming back to this film time after time, is Danny Boyle decided to film this in digital. It was one of the first digital movies to hit theaters, and he was able to manipulate colors, make things look a little differently. So it's definitely a movie of its time, but it feels like a capsule of time. Yeah. So it's a really cool kind of imagery that we've got going on with this movie.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I was just gonna add. And I know you would think we put it in number 28 for day 28, but we saved the last 3 days for something special, okay? And number 11, October 11th, we have Creepshow. Another quintessential Halloween movie that you gotta watch during October. So Creepshow, if you haven't seen it, is directed by George Romero and written by Stephen King. It's just a wonderful anthology full of just some wacky, gross, terrifying little stories that are just a great anthology.
And I think it's cool because we didn't necessarily get a Romero zombie film in our list, but we've got Romero in here somewhere, and that's in Creepshow.
Yeah, there you go. And I just feel like such a kid watching Creepshow.
Absolutely.
And it's just delightful.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it had to make the list this year. And for our next 3 films, these were specifically placed in this list because it made the most sense, and I think it's going to be so fun. But Krista, go ahead and introduce number 12.
Yeah, for number 12, we have A Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yes.
the original.
Wouldn't be Halloween without it.
Yeah, I mean, I always think of the score first.
Yes.
I mean, obviously Freddy Krueger, but
Yes.
the score it just feels like Halloween already. Like I just feel like I'm at Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
But yeah, the score and just the frights and excitement of first watching that movie or just any Nightmare on Elm Street. It's just so iconic.
Not just that, but it adds a little element of spooky. Like we're in this, we're part of the way into our list, we're getting a little bit scared, and then here comes Freddy to make sure we don't sleep well.
Exactly.
I absolutely love it.
Exactly.
And for our next 2, again, these 3 are very intentional. So we have Nightmare on Elm Street for 12, then for 13, come on, Friday the 13th.
It is literally Friday the 13th.
How could we not? Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th. And we specifically chose part 2 because that's where Jason really comes to shine. I think out of all of the Friday the 13th movies, it's the most cinematic and it's the most well told story-wise. And yeah, I mean, come on, Jason, you have to have the iconic slashers when it comes to Halloween time. And what's it without Jason? We had to throw him in there. Which brings us to our 14th pick. And I know this movie is very controversial. Some people like it, some people hate it. We happen to be the people that enjoy it, but we had to do Freddy vs. Jason.
Come on.
It's hilarious. I don't think Carissa or I take it very seriously. We just have a fun ride with it. We laugh at it and we just enjoy it. It's fun. It's the 2000s and it's completely ridiculous, but it's so much fun.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to watch Freddy and Jason just going at it?
And then it brings just the conversation amongst friends of who do we really think won.
Yeah. And it just brings just a whole nother level of love for slashers and just excitement around these characters and their legacy. Yeah.
Yeah. God. That's our 12th through 14th picks.
Wow. Okay. Number 15. We were really debating this one.
So hard.
So it is an Evil Dead film, but what we were debating was between Evil Dead 2013 or Evil Dead 2. So feel free to choose between those 2 or watch them both.
Yes.
Or watch the whole franchise.
Why not? In one day, let's do it.
But
challenge.
You have to watch Evil Dead in October.
You have to.
It's just, such a ride.
Yes.
And you do get 2 very different vibes between the 2013 and
very, very different vibes. It's kind of like, do we want to feel goofy silly or do we want to take it very seriously? And I don't think we could have chose between the 2.
So camp or just in your face
blood.
Or blood. But yeah, like group of friends in one way or another makes it to a deserted cabin in the woods. And they find this demonic presence that wreaks havoc on them in quite blood bath.
And who doesn't like a good old bloodbath on Halloween or in spooky season?
So if you want to feel a little groovy, go with number 2. If you want to fucking get stabbed a million times with a syringe, go with 2013. And then number 16, we have The Mist, 2007. Now, it's been a while since I've watched this, but I think we and the internet can all gather around and remember that devastating ending.
Oh, God.
And this is kind of our, like, alien type of
Yeah,
film,
like,
you know?
they're a little bit alien, they're a little bit of creature.
Yeah.
It's a little mix.
You don't really know what's
No.
going on, but it's chaos, it's terrifying, and just absolutely heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
And it adds that little bit of, like, religious horror element to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But essentially this mysterious mist envelops this town, and then people die in this mist. They don't know what from exactly, but there's something out there, and so you get this family or group that holes up in a grocery store, and then you kind of get this play on, like, just humanity.
Yes.
You know?
And I think that's the coolest part about this movie is seeing, you know, what people do in a time of crises and how they comfort themselves and how they get through it.
Yeah.
And our next two picks, we have one of my beloved James Wan films, Malignant. I bet you didn't think we were gonna say that. But Malignant. I think we just wanted to kind of break up the seriousness from The Mist, because The Mist is a pretty heavy film, and what better way than to not only watch a James Wan film, but watch a batshit James Wan film.
There you go.
And Malignant, I can't.
I'm so sorry.
You keep making me want to say Maligma. Okay, Malignant came out in 2021, and it is about a woman named Madison who is paralyzed by shocking violent visions of a grisly murder, and her torment worsens as she discovers that these waking dreams are in fact terrifying realities. Again, batshit crazy. It's kind of an ode to Giallo. Yeah. And the ending, chef's kiss. Yeah. Just so not what was expected, but so great. So great.
So good. Yeah.
Okay. Our number 18 pick. What would a spooky list be without some Rob Zombie in the mix? Just to add a little bit of flair. And what movie? House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, baby.
We just can't seem to get away from those haunted house stories, but this one I think adds a little bit of a different element to it.
I mean,
it's
just very Rob Zombie.
Very Rob Zombie. It almost feels like one of his, like, music videos. It's kind of crazy. But House of a Thousand Corpses is about two teenagers traveling across the backwoods area of Texas, I believe. And they are in search of urban legends, serial killers, and they kind of end up in a weird kind of situation with a kind of backwoods family.
This would happen to me.
And you think so?
I'm just kidding. Well, I would not fucking go in that house, but the part of, like, searching out urban legends, sure.
No, absolutely. I think that would be both of us. I mean, if you've listened to our previous episode on urban legends, it's something that we are very curious about and something that we definitely enjoy. So I could see it. I think I would have pieced out the moment I saw Captain Spaulding. I've been like, get me out of here, whether it's I actually get out or I die, but I want out.
I mean, yeah, the film feels like you're going through a haunted house attraction, because, like, you just find, like, all these different characters that are crazy and scary, and just rooms of fucking horror.
It kind of feels like a victim of a serial killer's fever dream.
Yeah,
that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
It's really crazy, but it's a lot of fun, and I think having a little flair of Rob Zombie kind of rounds out our list.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 19, 13 Ghosts. Oh my god. Okay, so we initially totally forgot this movie to put it on our list.
I can't believe we both forgot.
Like, Adam and I had talked about it before when I was briefly putting together my list, but I forgot to add it, and I just completely forgot.
I have no excuse. I just flat out forgot.
So when we were condensing our list at the very end, Adam's like, oh yeah, there's 13 ghosts. And we were like, we were trying to think of like the last one to add, and it was just absolutely perfect. I mean, this movie, Christina and I absolutely adore. If you haven't seen it, please watch it right now, which I don't know about the time this comes out, but it's on HBO Max, but it is leaving soon, sadly.
Please watch this movie if you hadn't. I think this is yet again one of those early 2000s kind of showcase films. It really feels that way, but it's Matthew Lillard at his wildest, and what more can you ask for?
Exactly. Bit goofy, but also very spooky.
Yes.
And then you get this this man with his 2 kids that inherit from the man's uncle this mansion that's really weird and has these like rooms with fucking writing etched on them, but basically it's housing these trapped ghosts.
Yes.
In these rooms, 13 to be exact. And there's more to the story that why they're there and why this is all happening, but
the ghosts are so great, and they're so well crafted, and
the
they're
makeup
practical, and they're so good. What's your favorite ghost?
Fuck. I mean, the jackal is terrifying. I think that's the scariest one to me, so I do love the jackal.
The jackal's my favorite too.
I like the juggernaut and
the juggernaut's crazy looking, and
the hammer.
The hammer?
Like with the nails in him?
Yeah.
I don't know I forgot what his name
Isn't
was.
that the juggernaut?
No, the juggernaut's
the juggernaut's a dude.
Mm-hmm. The dude.
I think it is the hammer. Is that
Something
not what
like
it's? I don't know. But
yeah. Watch it again. We're gonna watch it again. Then we'll know the names of all the ghosts.
It's so good. I can't wait. They're
adapting a show, a series.
Yes.
I think on HBO, right? I don't know.
I'm really curious to see how they do this. Like, it would be really cool if they did kind of a telling on the Black Zodiac, where they did like one ghost per episode and kind of gave a backstory on it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And all I'm hoping for is just practical makeup, because these characters, these ghosts, are so interesting. They deserve some craft to some great designs, you know.
Very well said.
Number 20, we have Phantasm. It's a 1979 film, bringing it back. But this is another one of those films where you kind of feel like a child watching it, and you just get wrapped up in this childlike fear where this kid notices a grave robber, this really known as the Tall Man, and he's a very tall, lurchy kind of guy that's very unsettling looking, just stalking about town, and he has this mysterious mansion on the outskirts of town, and some strange happenings going on there. And when you get a look inside, it's even stranger.
Yes.
But I was very delighted by watching this movie. Again, I watched this, I think, for the first time last year, and I really loved it. It's a great 70s horror.
Yes. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie, so I don't have much to say, but I am excited to see it again.
It's very different, I gotta say, from other like 70s horror. It definitely feels in that realm of usual 70s horror, I guess, in style.
Yeah.
But just the content of it is very different. Yeah. It's very interesting.
I'm excited to see it again.
Of what you find in this house.
Our number 21 pick, to kind of break up the seriousness of I guess Phantasm's kind of fun, but we just threw this one in here. Idle Hands. It's one of those favorite kind of Halloween time films. It has a great cast. We have Devon Sawa, Seth Green. We get a cameo from The Offspring towards the end. So much fun. It's about 3 friends. They're all guys. They are up to no good. All they do is smoke pot and chill and at one of their houses and watch TV and music videos, and one day that proves to be their downfall.
Yeah.
And a lot of just hilarious chaos ensues. It's a very, very fun movie. It feels so much like Halloween. It just, the list wouldn't be the same without it.
I gotta say, that opening scene is brutal.
Yeah, it is.
I was surprised.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
like, ooh.
I think the cold open's probably the scariest part of the movie.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, such a good time.
Yeah, really, really fun.
Great fucking one-liners.
Yes. Oh my
So quotable.
god, so quotable. I've been known to quote this movie quite frequently over the years. It's great. I adore it. And then our number 22 pick, none other but the OG Maniac. What would a Halloween list be without a legit serial killer movie? This movie is about a psychotic man troubled by his childhood abuse is let loose in NYC. And let's say he just wreaks havoc on some women, and it's pretty brutal. This movie is bloody. It's disturbing. It's not very fun. And you would ask, why would we put this on this list? Because we are gluttons for punishment.
Yeah, it's a great fucking horror.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's just good.
And like, it's sad, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, on both sides.
It kind of is. And I hate to be that one that like shows like any sort of emotion for the antagonist of the film, but you kind of can't help it in this situation if you really dig into the context of why this man is the way that he is.
Yeah. It's a lot to kind of contend with in your heart, in your mind, but it is just truly a frightful film. Very well done. And the performance, so good. And then, I mean, the ending, you know, just wait and see. Just wait and see.
You gotta watch it to see it. And then we kind of battled a little bit between which version we wanted to watch. We ultimately chose the OG, but I feel like we have to kind of mention Elijah Wood's version because it was done very, very well. It's very creepy. It almost felt real. I don't know if it's because it was a newer rendition of it, and so it like in my mind that it clicked like in today's day. So it just felt a little bit more realistic to me, but nonetheless it's just as great as the OG. One of those instances where the remake was not terrible, and thoroughly enjoy both.
Yeah, well said. Okay, so number 23, we have Mandy.
Yes,
God diggity damn.
That is the perfect way to put this movie.
Mandy came out in 2018, and we have the lovely, just charismatic, fucking wild Nicolas Cage just going to town. So the movie is about Nicolas Cage's character named Red and his girlfriend Mandy, or is it his wife?
Oh, I don't know.
Lover.
Yes.
His lover Mandy. They are living a loving and peaceful existence in their pine-scented haven, and eventually it is just basically destroyed. Their euphoria is just destroyed as this, would you call him a cult leader?
Yeah.
He gives off the vibe of a cult leader, but the antagonist kidnaps Mandy, and Red tries to get her back.
Yeah. Drugs her up with lots and lots and lots of LSD.
But this movie, directed by Panos Cosmatos.
Yes.
Wow. It's just, this one is very different stylistically from all the other films.
This movie is just so fun to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a specific scene that just trips you out.
Yeah.
So if you are under the influence of anything, well, prepare.
So
Prepare
I
yourself.
watched this with someone, I'm not going to say who because that's their own private business, who has done hallucinogens. And they said that the little kind of imagery that they put in there to kind of feel like you were tripping was very realistic. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. And who doesn't like Nicolas Cage dialed up to an 11 and just let loose on it? Like, I think that's when he does his best.
But yeah, again, like the performances, the fucking props, and all the characters and production design is just
Yeah.
awesome to look at. It's just a
so
feast for the
fun.
eyes.
It really, really, really is.
It's just a great time, and it feels like a fever dream. I mean,
It
essentially,
does.
yeah.
It does. But yeah, I really love this like whole take on cosmic horror. I really love the way that it plays with color. I think that color, even though is obviously very unnatural lighting, still looks beautiful. And the way that it plays off of characters and their skin tones, like it's really, 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 really great to look at.
There's certain moments with characters where they feel like it just feels like a dream. Like they feel unreal.
Yeah.
And are these real characters? Is this in his head? Because it's just so strange, but like
it is
just crazy, fun, and unsettling.
Yeah. Yep. And the ending of this movie is just fantastic. Yeah. Highly recommend.
Highly recommend. And then, goddamn, to follow that up, number 24. We have a Barbarian. We have Barbarian. I mean, we have a whole episode on this movie. And by golly, it's just a joy to rewatch.
Yes. I mean, we don't really need to say much about this. We've already said it. We love this movie. It feels very necessary to be on our list. And yeah. It's Barbarian. Go watch it.
If you want to laugh, if you want to cringe, if you want to scream, if you want to fucking throw up in your mouth. No.
Drink it out of a baby bottle.
That's what I was thinking. Man, it's such a good time.
Yeah. Number 25 is The Craft. I think this is one of those movies that kind of rides the line of horror, where it's not 100% horror, but it still is pretty creepy. And it's about a girl who moves into a new area. She starts going to school and finds friendship with these other 3 girls. And they all happen to be witches.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun.
It's definitely like outcast
Yeah.
story, 90s.
Very 90s kind of teenager, teen kind of flick, but I think it resonates with everyone a little bit. I think everyone loves this movie around this time of year.
Yeah.
It's a good film.
My mom, when they play Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board,
Yeah.
I always think of my mom said she would play that with her
Did
friends
she?
and everything, or tried it.
Did it work?
I'm sure they convinced themselves it did.
Have you ever played it?
I have not.
I haven't either.
Lay down. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it is such a great fall vibes. No.
Yes.
It is such a it feels nostalgic.
Yes.
I mean, I was only 1 year old when it came out.
But I think, did you see this movie as a teen?
Yeah. It's definitely hit the high school fucking feeling like an outcast, and then getting into like, because I felt like I was into more mainstream stuff.
I feel like any
resonated with
like
it.
teen girl that kind of grew up around the time that we did, that was at all into alternative, maybe curious about the occult, watch this movie.
Yeah, definitely. So
it's a fun one. Number 26. We had to pick a werewolf movie, and what better than Ginger Snaps? I mean, girl power, sisters, full moon, full on like morphosis scene of the character turning into a werewolf.
Female maturity.
Yes, it's great. And I think it has such a great like subtext to it. And it's a lot of fun. It's about these 2 sisters who are kind of different, don't get along with like a majority of the people in their high school. They go off to play a prank on the younger sister's bully, and Ginger, the older sister, is bit by something. Turns out it's a werewolf, and you just watch the transformation of Ginger from that point on. I fucking love this movie with my whole damn heart. I enjoy this movie so much. It is disgusting. And I'm so sorry. I'm going to put a warning out there. There are dead animals in this movie. But it looks very fake. And so I think that's what is kind of easy to get past. But, yeah. There is a really great TikTok creator. She's talks about a lot of horror movies and did a video about the alternative script for Ginger Snaps. And it sounded like that movie would have been so cool to see.
Nice.
Really, really cool. I'll have to show you that
petition
video.
for it to be made.
But Ginger Snaps is really fun.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was very well said. I mean, yeah, we gotta have a werewolf movie. We were looking for a full moon date in October to schedule this one for, but it was already taken by a film we needed to have in there.
It would have been fun to watch it on a full moon, but not necessary.
28, guys.
Yeah, it's good at any time.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Now we're getting into the heavy hitters towards the end of the month. So, number 27, we have Hereditary. Come on. It's probably one of the most impactful, maybe resonating horror movies of, like, just recent memory.
Impactful, yet controversial. Because this movie's either loved or it's hated.
Yeah, thankfully the people I'm around have all loved it, so we're on the same page. But it's such a well-made film. I think it's just so well crafted. The scares, they're not fucking cheesy. They're actually just terrifying. Just catches you so off guard so many times.
And for this to be Ari Aster's debut film,
incredible,
like full-length film,
god damn,
insane.
I don't even want to like talk about the plot. I'm sure most people have seen it by now, but it's just this family that undergoes like some fucking horrendous turmoil, and then we get some secrets of the family from, you know, the grandmother start coming to light, and there is much more in the design than is comprehended.
Yeah.
And it's great to rewatch. I highly recommend rewatching it a few times because there's lots of little details that you'll start to pick out and comes together.
Yeah. But I feel like there's nothing like seeing this movie for the first time.
Yeah.
Because
truly.
it kind of like you don't really know where it's going, but then finally when you figure it out, it was like, what the actual fuck? Like this movie was kind of wild.
Yeah.
And it's definitely heavy. So I feel like you got to be in the right kind of mood to watch something like this because it's pretty devastating.
The performances all around are just jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
And technically how they shot certain fucking scenes.
Beautiful.
Like, just the opening when you go into the dollhouse. Yeah. Or, like, you're going into the dollhouse and then it switches and, you know, just seamlessly transitions into the real set.
This movie's kind of a technical masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's really well done. Everything from the sound design to the just camera movements to the effects to the acting to the makeup to the costume design. Like, this movie is very, very meticulously thought out, and it makes me think that Ari Aster has a very type A personality.
My goodness. And I mean, we just also have some personal horrific experiences after watching this movie. I still don't know what the hell happened, but essentially we were hearing the tongue click around our apartment when we lived together.
It was really weird.
Horrible.
Yeah, it was. We, for the longest time, thought each one of us was playing a joke on the other until we moved and we were still hearing it, and it was pretty scary. So, I don't know. Maybe we summoned Paimon accidentally.
God damn it, Ari. But yeah, highly recommend. It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Number 28, which I'm going to hand over mostly to you because I haven't seen it yet. Recently came out. Cobweb.
Yes.
2023 release.
Cobweb. I think it was such unfortunate timing when Cobweb came out because it was around the Barbenheimer release.
Oh, yeah.
So we had Barbie, Oppenheimer, Talk to Me, and then Cobweb. All in the same kind of bubble of releasing. So obviously there's a very specific crowd that went to go see Barbie. There's a very specific crowd that went to see Oppenheimer. There was a little blend that saw both. And then there was a horror crowd that went and saw Talk to Me. And I think Cobweb was just forgotten about, unfortunately. Well, let me tell you, it shouldn't have been. Cobweb is about an 8-year-old boy named Peter who's plagued by a mysterious and constant tapping from the inside of the bedroom wall.
Ugh, hate that.
His parents keep insisting that it's his imagination, and the story kind of unfolds from there. I do not want to say a single word more about this movie because it kind of keeps unveiling itself. So you go into the movie expecting to see a certain kind of movie, and then a layer is peeled away. And then you're like, oh, okay, I think I know where this is going. And then another layer is peeled away. And then by the ending, you're like, what the actual fuck? But it's so fun, and it's such a good time, and it's creepy, and it feels very Halloween. I do not think this movie is outright scary. I wouldn't say that. For me personally, not at all. But it was very, very fun to watch, and it did have one scene I can particularly remember where I was like, oh, I don't like that. Not even because it was scary. It was, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It hit a certain nerve where I was like, I don't like that sound. I don't like what's happening. No.
Yeah.
But it's very quick, and I 100% know you'll know what I'm saying when you see it. But
I'm so excited.
It's really fun. I highly suggest every single person go out and watch Cobweb because I don't think it got the love and attention that it deserved.
Nice. That's interesting you say how it keeps unveiling itself and like you expect something, because when you first initially say the synopsis, I'm like, that sounds like something we've seen before.
Yeah, I totally went into it thinking that this was like another haunted kind of possession movie.
Yeah.
You'll see.
And I mean, the creators, they made that show Marianne that was on Netflix, and it was French.
Yes.
And I did not watch the whole season, but I had watched a few episodes, and it was thoroughly creepy.
Yes.
There's a lot of, just a lot of imagery that really creeped me out and had me looking in the dark corners of the room.
I don't think this necessarily played on that same level of Marianne, where it was like having you check in dark corners. But that one scene had unpleasant imagery where I was like, I don't like it.
See.
I know you'll know when that scene happens, and pay attention to the dad.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Nice.
And our number 29 pick, none other than Scream. Came out in 96.
I mean, if you know Christine and I by now, we have to put Scream on most
Adored.
of our lists.
Yeah, it's adored. We don't have to say much about it. We've reviewed quite a few of the Scream sequels. It's loved. It's the OG. You gotta have it in a list.
I also think it is just a perfect addition for like a Halloween feeling watch, because you get like a small town feel with like, you know, teens, and you get the costume, the fucking serial killer slashing people off, and it feels like, I don't know, like when you're just going around in high school and it's like that time of the year, and like
super nostalgic.
Nostalgia is a perfect word. And I don't know if it's just like this was one of the first like horror movies we've watched in our lives that we are very attached to it, but I think it has just a certain feel to it.
Yeah,
and then not to mention its whole like impact on the horror genre, you know, but like there's just a certain feel to like the Ghostface costume and that town when you watch it, and it feels like autumn, it feels like Halloween, and
I 100% agree with everything you said. I just don't think this would be a list without Scream on there. I could watch this movie 100 times during October and still love every second of it. Scream is Scream. It had to be on this list.
Scream. Scream. Yeah.
And then for day 30, what would Halloween time be without Trick or Treat?
Yeah.
This movie takes place during Halloween. It's an anthology film. It came out in
2007.
Yes. It is so fun. I have very fond memories of seeing this movie for the first time. It was really hard to find on physical copy, and I looked and looked and looked for it and found it at Fry's Electronics.
Oh, wow.
And this has been in my rotation for my Halloween movies since I can remember, since I've gotten my hands on that physical copy.
I remember renting it at Hollywood Video.
Yes!
Which, again, it was like the cover drew me to it.
Yeah.
And then, god damn, I miss rental stores.
I do too.
And physical, yeah. I feel like I discovered more movies that way.
Yeah.
Because I was drawn to the fucking, the artwork, and I don't know.
I think you could just lose time in those stores.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And Trick or Treat, just, like you said, quintessential Halloween. You get the play on all these different urban legends that they're, kind of focusing on.
And then the story that ties all three together is seamless. And I don't want to give too much away about this movie if you haven't watched it, but it's absolutely worth a watch. I mean,
you get an iconic Halloween mascot for Sam.
Yes. And then they throw in specific Halloween rules to follow. Yeah. And it's just it's really fun.
It's just, you have to watch it.
Yeah.
You have to watch it for Halloween.
Yes.
Every season.
And if you like
incredible
the character Sam that you see around Spirit Halloween, he's from Trick or Treat.
Yeah. Please get it right.
And then,
oh gosh,
last but not least, day 31.
Call us basic, but we don't care. We gotta put Halloween. So we put the OG, 1978.
Gotta have classic Michael.
Yeah, classic Michael, where it all began.
Yep.
I mean, it's a fucking legacy for a reason. It's
Absolutely.
iconic for a reason. John Carpenter. We had to put John Carpenter on there.
Yeah.
Obviously. But...
And we kind of struggled between which one we wanted to put on there. I think we all knew deep down inside the OG had to be the pick.
But feel free to fucking marathon it.
Yeah.
Or I think I was saying that my other pick, if it wasn't the OG Halloween.
Well, we know what our other pick was.
Halloween H2O, which is one of those ones that's either hated or loved.
Yes. I think it's one of the worst masks.
Yes.
But the
funnest.
Absolutely. Iteration of Halloween.
Fucking Josh Hartnett.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, if you don't take it too seriously, please it's a great time. I think it's like AMC. Well, they usually have a Fright Fest, but they'll do the whole franchise like on Halloween. And every Halloween, I remember like going to after trick or treating, I would go to my parents' room and just watch all the Halloweens.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's just such a vibe. No,
yes.
I'm just kidding. Kill me. No, it's so good, and it's fucking Halloween.
It's Halloween. You have to do a little Michael on Halloween.
The music.
Yeah.
Cue music. No, just copyright. Yeah. So, follow our list, make your own list, but please just fill yourself up with loads of horror for this October, this Halloween season.
Yes.
Let us hail Paimon. No, just kidding. But we horror fans love the spooks. We love the Spooktober time. It's just another dedicated month to show our love for the genre.
Absolutely. And I think what better way than to challenge ourselves and see if we can get one movie a day for 31 days. I think we can do it. Adam, would you like to add any comments to the list before we get into honorable mentions?
Do you have one that you're most excited to watch or rewatch?
Yes, so I haven't seen Hatchet yet, so I would definitely be excited to see Hatchet. I'm excited to see Cobweb also. I haven't seen that one yet. I'm always excited about Ginger Snaps. I feel like that one is like quintessential Halloween. It was like always on I think it was IFC used to play it all the
Yes.
time for Halloween, and I just always watched it every single time. Creep Show, quintessential Halloween. I feel like it just reminds me so much of like I'd only watched it like I think it was like 2 years ago or something, but it felt like something immediately when I watched it, I was like, this is something that I would watch every Halloween if I was a kid. Yeah, and then Hereditary, I think, is another one where it's like I it's just so it feels so creepy and it's definitely so detail oriented that it feels like so inherent to the nature of Halloween, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm excited. The whole list.
Well, we did have some honorable mentions, stuff we had on our list that we were debating on, and ultimately,
That didn't make the cut.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, the first two, we got Blade.
Which, I mean,
Come on.
it's a great vampire movie,
Yeah.
but I just don't feel like it's horror enough. It feels very horror adjacent, but not quite there.
But goddamn, that blood rain.
Just Wesley Snipes in his full glory, blood rain, all of
Gosh,
it. So good.
So 90s. So
is.
90s. Next one is Drag Me to Hell.
This is one of my favorite movies. I
Yeah,
love this movie so much.
Again, it's just another, it's like, it's got some great modern horror where I was actually freaked out watching it, especially at the ending scene was so unsettling to me. But it's also got some goofy ass shit in there.
Yeah. Well,
Classic
I feel like
Raimi,
it's
you know?
very Raimi, and we already had a classic Raimi film in here. And honestly, if it came down to it, what am I gonna choose? Evil Dead or Drag Me to Hell?
Yeah.
It's gonna be Evil Dead all the way through, but
Watch it.
the
Drag Me
movie's
to
really
Hell.
fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Our next two, Cabin in the Woods. I mean, this is a movie for horror fans.
Yeah.
Not much else to be said about that. It's great, but we just felt like we already had a lot of cabin, haunted house kind of films in our list.
Yeah.
Didn't quite make the cut. The next is Faculty. This is such a great, just ensemble cast
Teen horror.
alien film.
Yeah.
But when it came down to it, it didn't feel right to put in our list, so we opted to just have it as an honorable mention.
Yeah. Oh man. Yep. The next two honorable mentions. Funny Games. Oh. Now it's been a long time since I've seen this, but we ultimately decided to maybe a little too depressed.
We just have a lot of hard to watch films on our list that I feel like just adding another really, really rough movie just wasn't necessary.
Maybe it didn't capture quite the Spooktober Halloween spirit that we were going for this challenge.
But it is a really great movie. It doesn't have a lot of gore, but it's still really impactful. I don't highly suggest. I suggest watching it if you think you're up to it, but keep in mind it's a lot of heavy subject matter, and I think it's so realistic that it drives it home a little harder. Right. But it is heavy, so at your own risk.
And then we have X, which again we have a whole episode on.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately why we left it off, I would say. But great characters, great kills, just really fun ride at the same time. Very cringy, but in the best way, listen to our episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And watch other Ty West movies if you haven't seen any. They're great. And then our last two is Terrified, which again is a really, really just creepy kind of slow burn movie that has a lot of just unsettling imagery.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool film, but I don't think it made the cut because we have a lot of other similar movies on the list, and it just didn't feel necessary to add it.
It's a lesser known international film. It's Argentinian, but highly recommend. It's a very well done film. It's pretty much an anthology, but it feels a little more. it's literally right on the same street that these stories are happening, and they are freaky.
Yep.
But yeah.
Is it still on Netflix?
I know for sure it's on Shudder.
Okay, give it a shot.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it. And then our last honorable mention. This didn't make the cut because I personally stated to Carissa that I'm a little burnt out on the whole Wannaverse kind of thing, iterations of films coming out lately. There's just a lot of it going on, but it's Insidious. Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic movie. It was, spectacular in its time. It kind of set off a whole new genre of films, and it like came out with a bang. Everyone was scared of this movie. I remember being a little freaked out of this movie when it first came out. It's really well done, really well acted, great storyline. What else can I say? Insidious is fantastic. It just...
And I was torn because I love The Conjuring too, but The Conjuring and Insidious both were so good and like the best of their respective franchises or few films that came out, sequels. But yeah, if you want jump scares, but they are in the originals. They are well crafted, whereas later down the line they feel overused or overdone. But you want some good ghost action.
And then
Ghost and Demons.
I think the kind of James Wan movie that went out was Malignant because it's very different, and I feel like it's not a movie that most people who have seen James Wan's films have watched. Yeah. And if they have, it may not hit in the same way that Insidious and The Conjuring did, but it's worth a mention. I think it's very fitting for Halloween time. Just, watch it if you're down. All right, guys. I think that concludes our 2023 October horror films list.
Challenge yourselves, guys.
Yeah.
Watch a horror movie each day of the month.
I'm really excited to do this challenge. We haven't done anything like this before. I'm excited to hear what y'all have come up with for your lists, and please hit us up on social media.
Send us recs.
Show us your list. Send us recommendations. I know there will be some days that we're watching films that we'll have time for too. So please do so.
I know we put our jack-o'-lanterns out pretty early this season, but I'm gonna blow it out for the night. I think it's been on for a while.
Why? They look so cute. Just leave them on.
I don't want people to bother us thinking we're awake, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna go blow it out.